information online, as Walter Quattrocchiolli shows. Neuroscientist Tali Sharot agrees and offers a few suggestions to break through, including more online regulation. Reasonable policy discussion is a start, but won't help convince a climate-denying uncle at Thanksgiving or dispel dystopian nightmares. Fortunately, there are some solutions for dealing with our bias-wired brains in daily life. Since belief is rooted in emotion, Gleb Tsipursky offers a strategy for discussion that starts with empathy instead of facts. In terms of our own open-mindedness, Steve Ian writes that having a flexible self-image allows us to better cope with changes to our worldview and life in general. None of it is easy, but the alternative is not to see the world accurately, but to live in a fiction of our own making. Lisa Palatroni, book editor. Section 1. Thinking about thinking. The Myth of Self-Knowledge. 10 Things You Don't Know About Yourself by Steve Ian. 1. Your perspective on yourself is distorted. Yourself lies before you like an open book. Just peer inside and read. Who you are, your likes and dislikes, your hopes and fears, they are all there, ready to be understood. This notion is popular, but is probably completely false. Psychological research shows that we do not have privileged access to who we are. When we try to assess ourselves accurately, we are really poking around in a fog. Princeton University psychologist Emily Pronin, who specializes in human self-perception and decision-making, calls the mistaken belief in privileged access the introspection illusion. The way we view ourselves is distorted, but we do not realize it. As a result, our self-image has surprisingly little to do with our actions. For example, we may be absolutely convinced that we are empathetic and generous, but still walk right past a homeless person on a cold day. The reason for this distorted view is quite simple, according to Pronin. Because we do not want to be stingy, arrogant, or self-righteous, we assume that we are not any of those things. As evidence, she points to our divergent views of ourselves and others. We have no trouble recognizing how prejudiced or unfair our office colleague acts toward another person. But we do not consider that we could behave in much the same way. Because we intend to be morally good, it never occurs to us that we too might be prejudiced. Pronin assessed her thesis in a number of experiments. Among other things, she had her study participants complete a test involving matching faces with personal statements that would supposedly assess their social intelligence. Afterward, some of them were told that they had failed and were asked to name weaknesses in the testing procedure. Although the opinions of the subjects were almost certainly biased, not only had they supposedly failed the test, they were also being asked to critique it. Most of the participants said their evaluations were completely objective. It was much the same in judging works of art, although subjects who used a biased strategy for assessing the quality of paintings nonetheless believed that their own judgment was balanced. Pronin argues that we are primed to mask our own biases. Is the word introspection merely a nice metaphor? Could it be that we are not really looking into ourselves, as the Latin root of the word suggests, but producing a flattering self-image that denies the failings that we all have? The research on self-knowledge has yielded much evidence for this conclusion. Although we think we are observing ourselves clearly, our self-image is affected by processes that remain unconscious. 2. Your motives are often a complete mystery to you. How well do people know themselves? In answering this question, researchers encounter the following problem. To assess a person's self-image, one would have to know who that person really is. Investigators use a variety